on, y'all? It's your boy Gibbons,
And we'll see.
and welcome to yet another episode of the Achromous podcast, episode 95. 95. We are 5 episodes away from 100. For those who have been here and have been watching us for the past 95 episodes, that's 95 straight weeks of gems. We thank you for joining us. You're probably listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, or wherever you hear podcasts. But if you are watching, that can only mean one thing. That means you decided to open the YouTube app and type in something related to motivation, goal setting, inspirational videos that will allow you to live a better life. That means you found the Achromous podcast. And here's what I want you to do if you have not done so already. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that subscribe button. And will you please hit that notification bell? Here's what's going to happen when you open the app again and you look for those same keywords that I just mentioned. You will see episode 95 of the Achromous podcast. And most of all, we'll see.
It is free to do each and every single one of those pointers you mentioned. I'm just gonna add one more to it this week. Keep it short and sweet. Can you also share it as well?
Please.
Can you share it, guys? Because we really appreciate it. It'll kind of help really expand and to make other folks who can use this information that we provide have it accessible and available to them to do the same thing, to like, subscribe, and turn on their notification as well. But it starts with you. So if you can do those things, we really appreciate it. Doesn't take much of your time. And it lets us know that, we are able to deliver a great service to you each and every single week.
Absolutely. What a week it has been. So, what's funny, guys, last week, as we talked about when we were going through the episode, that was just an absolutely unfiltered, unscripted, unplanned for episode. That was not what we were going to talk about. Even this week, our discussion is not really going to be on what we were supposed to discuss last week. That's going to be for a later episode. But man, what a passionate episode. I mean, going back and going through all of those gems that you dropped, some of the harsh realities of things that are happening in our community. And one thing stuck out. I was actually tonight, literally, I know this comes out on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. everywhere you hear or see a podcast, but this evening I was doing some cut ups so that I can post once again about some of the clips that Will C was dropping, some of the gems that he was talking about last week. And there was one particular part in the episode that got me again, because there's something that I went back to see if anything was done or has happened since, and that has not been the case. And that is the fact that there is this street code where you don't say anything, you don't see anything, you don't say anything. And here's what ends up happening, right? You're in a private event. I'm sure there's a guest list of folks coming in. You're in a tight circle. You know what's going on. You know who pulled it out. You know who pulled the trigger. Accidental or on purpose, you know what happened, but they still have not come forward. And it has been about what, over a week now since this has happened, right?
Yeah.
Man has been laid to rest. And here we are. There's still nothing, and this is exactly what we're talking about. So whenever you hop onto your Chroma's podcast and you think we're just blowing smoke up your ass, this is all real. I mean, you could go back to that last episode and find the seconds where he said this exact thing, and this exact thing is playing out now. In the case where you think, well, there's absolutely no way they wouldn't find this person. Everybody's in a small knit circle. Then you start hearing a gun being fired and people are running. You're beside that person before you start running. You know who did it. You know who did it. Look, it's going to be on your conscience, but I'm just saying this is exactly what we were talking about. This is exactly word for word what we were talking about last week would be the case with this. And sadly, we were right. We'll see.
Yeah. A little surprise there. And as mentioned even before, the algorithm is not allowing these sort of messages to get out. Is not privy to be upon the masses because it isn't considered to be of entertaining enough, because we're not talking bullshit about it, because we're not out there advocating and promoting the nonsense aspect of that, right? We're not out here gossiping about the he say she say of the stories or the videos that are just regurgitated about what happened, right? We're not out here talking about those things, but obviously we can see it does play out like that. And for something to be on a center stage, if you will, and to have that be the result is just detrimental to the progression of people and as people that that what we see is what it is, because the reality of it is that could have been any one of us, and the results would be the same. And it's sad, disappointing. But as mentioned before, not to kick an old drum, but we have to do better. We got to do better, but it does start with each and every single one of us. So until we're able to own a sense of accountability, um, to be the change that we seek and lead by example with that, we'll continue to see what we're seeing, and it will be no different. The only thing we can do to make a difference is to control our own actions and to join united in recognizing that and understand that there's true power in that. And through togetherness, we could achieve great things if we're able to hold ourselves accountable first.
100%. I mean, sometimes, I feel that we end up talking into a void because I know that there are some people, many people who agree with what we're saying, but they're not able to see this. They're not able to hear this. The algorithms are not in our favor, and that's not BS. I mean, a lot of you content creators out there now know that if there is something that you're pushing that is not getting traction, but it is of high quality, you know that there are other things that are the exact opposite that are getting pushed out. I mean, you see it when we're scrolling, right? I go in the comments of some of these videos that go out, and 95% of the comments are all like, how is this getting play? How is this person getting
Yeah.
recognition? Look, we're both asking the same question, and it has nothing to do with hate. It has nothing to do with that. But there was a time in the past, we'll see, where you needed to have actual talent to become something, to be looked at and to be applauded for what you've done. You had to have been accomplished. You had to have had actual talent. Whether you're a singer, an actor, a dancer, it doesn't matter. There was something there where I sat down and I looked at the screen, or I listened to your song, or listened to your voice, and I'm like, this is not something I can do. This is a God-given ability that only one person can do in this world, and that person is the person I'm seeing or listening to. That is not the case anymore. That is not the case at all. So it's been a fight. It's been an uphill battle. Not getting these gems out. This is just what we do. It comes natural to us. But for you guys to be able to hear it, which is why we always say the beginning and end of these episodes, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share. Share is the most important part. It absolutely is, because if you're not sharing, if that person needs any help, if that person is struggling to look for some sort of light in his life or her life, know that Achromous is the foundation for that life start. We're not going to be the end, but we are the beginning. This is where you start. You start with goal setting. You start with something like the 21-3 method. That is the beginning. So allow that to be your foundation. I can guarantee you that your life will be better because of it eventually, not immediately. And that is a big thing we'll see, because today we're going to talk about how impatience kills your dreams. Just generally
Mm-hmm.
speaking, I'm sure, I mean, for me, we'll see, I can name several times where I lost patience and I lost out on a lot, whether it was an ability to play a sport that I loved, or in this example that I'm going to talk about, it was my finances. It was money, right? I mean, right now, crypto has been shit. It's 2022 is the end of it. Like, it's getting very, very bad out there. I'm hearing it's going to turn around, but I don't think anybody's a true pro at this. This is all really speculative. It's volatile thing. It's for me, it's a gamble, which is why I don't dig into it too much. But there was a time back during the height of COVID where there was an opportunity to let something sit in a particular crypto coin and allow it to grow. And I did not take advantage of that. There was a point there where I thought I had reached the peak, and I decided that I was going to pull out. But the peak was several $1,000s later, and I missed out on a great opportunity. Now, of course, that type of money was not going to make me well off, but I would have been able to pay off the debts that I have. I would have been able to extend myself a little further than I am now. So in essence, it temporarily killed momentum. I wouldn't say it completely destroyed my dreams, because there's always a way when you're doing something that you love, you feel like you're not working a day in your life. And so
Mm.
that's something that we're always chasing. And I always feel that if you are continuing to dream and you're making progress towards your purpose, then your dream is not dead. It is still valid. You are still building, you are still pushing. But at that particular time, we'll see, I had to understand what patience was. And unfortunately, because of my quick hand, because of friends in my ear, because of what I was hearing on the news, I decided to pull out too early. And in this case, it almost cost me my dreams, man.
Jeez. Yeah, that's, I would like to think, um, that's very relatable to just about almost everyone out of there. We're, we kind of, we jump the gun a bit on certain things, right? Sometimes it's instinctive, and I don't always think that's a bad thing not to follow, but it's sometimes about like really committing yourself to certain things, especially something that's of importance to you, and just kind of really just adjusting your methods where needed. I'm, thinking for myself as well, where I've definitely I've done that. I've allowed being impatient with certain situations to get the best of me, um, personally, and just what I've done in those instances since is to try to allow myself the ability to really kind of reflect on it, to understand why I made the decision I made, because ultimately I've lived with it. But if I put myself in a scenario, a winning scenario, to just stay true to it, right? To not jump the course because it's getting difficult or it's getting a little too out of my element, right? Because sometimes that happens. But I think it depends on the subject that we're speaking about, right? So if you're thinking about something along within, stocks and things like that, it's definitely different. So that's not really what I'm referencing towards. I just mean more so for myself, just other aspects and just general life decision making, or like maybe you thinking career wise or some sort of form of entrepreneurship, right? If it makes sense and it's something you can apply to, where it's something we like to refer to, and Jay does mention this quite a bit, like something that you can aspire to build towards to bring profit to you versus something that is a hobby, right? You really want to kind of identify what that looks like, because I think those sort of things do play a factor into decision making for some folks, Jay. Like, as far as why it may be easier to just part ways with something, right? Or maybe a fear or being hesitant of failing is another reason why you may part ways with something. But ultimately, I think it just comes back to being mindful and sound and trusting in your capabilities, right? Knowing what they are to really understand your decision making. Trust that you have your best judgment at hand, and if you do, for the most part, you learn, right? You learn from whatever decisions you made, and you break even either way. At least that's what I've learned in my experiences. I think we were talking about this recently earlier this week, Jay, about some personal stuff, and
Yeah.
I had to, and in this time, like, this is one of these instances where I felt like I was just kind of running into a wall. I was running into a wall nonstop, and every certain odd amount of like months, I would check in on a certain issue, and I was just like, "Damn it! I keep getting here, and I'm not making progress. I don't see progress.
Yeah.
I'm so done with this." Like, and I wanted to just be done with it because it was very stressful. But I found recently that because committed myself and disciplined my thought process to, okay, I'm going to not only analyze this issue, but I'm going to apply attainable results that I know I can achieve. It just is going to be on me to make sure I do what I need to do to get the results I desire. It's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require the patience, to know that this is for the long haul. This is going to be an instant result sort of approach, and that's what I've done. And in doing so, like I mentioned this earlier this week, I was able to reflect on the results of where I am now. I'm not out the water from where what I'm trying to accomplish with this thing, personal thing for me, but I was very proud of myself because that's what I reflected on. Having the patience to really endure and an intentionality of making sure that I'm going to achieve these stepping stones along the way as I get to my overall goal. So sometimes that's what it takes. It really takes, self-reflecting and recognizing the areas of what you need to do to contribute for yourself so that you can achieve what it is that you've committed yourself to without feeling the need to like break away from it because it isn't going the way you wanted to go right away.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one takeaway there too is just being able to learn yourself. I think tracking that progress, knowing where you are in that moment will help you understand that you are going the right way. I think a lot of times we want to get to the end before we even start. And the journey is the thing that we should always remember, right? That's the most memorable thing. It's the path that you have to take to get to wherever you are, not necessarily the destination. We can imagine what the destination is going to look like all day long, but it does not matter until you get there and you experience it. But along the way, that is where you learn more about yourself. That is when you pick up those lessons that you go through, the challenges, the hurdles that you have to overcome. That is exactly when you pick up those pieces. That's exactly when you rebuild yourself. Now you're a lot stronger than you used to be because you know more than you used to know. And as you continue to grow, as you continue to excel, you'll start living in the present rather than hoping for the future. And I think a lot of us do that so much. I mean, God, the Powerball was just won in California about last week. And
Mhm.
somebody is a billionaire, depending on if they pulled out or if they kept some in and are doing an annuity. But regardless, I am sure all of us have imagined what we would do if we were to get $1 billion. Well,
Yeah.
let's be honest. I mean, there's the guy who won or the girl who won had about a 1 in 318 million chance of winning. You actually have a higher chance of becoming a billionaire in your lifetime than you do winning the Powerball. I can't even fathom that, but
Yeah.
that is absolutely true. But in
Yeah.
order to become a billionaire, you guys, you got to stop looking at the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. You got to start looking at the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Jay-Z's, the Diddy. Diddy has been in this thing, the music industry, for 40 years. For 40 years, he's been there. Jay-Z in a long time too, 30 plus years. And it took patience to get to where he is. He didn't become a billionaire overnight. He didn't drop out of Harvard and create some social network overnight and build it into what Facebook is today. That's not him. That wasn't his path. So I think when Mark Zuckerberg got that, it all of a sudden it changed everybody's perspective on how quickly they can get to somewhere rather than loving the journey on the way, rather than building up something that you know can last for a lifetime, can last for generations. We're in this microwave generation where we're so impatient. We want the end now before we even start. So don't imagine the end. Just fall in love with the journey. As long as you know where you're going, that's all that matters. You will get there. You will get there. Imagine yourself living every day, understanding what your purpose is, and knowing that each and every day you're taking one step towards that. If you want the body of your dreams, you've created a regimen for yourself that you can maintain. Now you can sustain the weights that you're lifting, the amount of cardio you're getting in until you do all of these things via repetition and consistency and eventually get to that point. Just imagine where you would be in 10 years with consistent action. Imagine how great you will look. Imagine how great you would feel. And if you are in the fitness industry, you're trying to be a trainer or you're trying to win a bodybuilding competition. Imagine what 10 years would do to your body. Imagine what 10 years would do with your network. You're out there, you're grinding, you're hustling, you're talking to everybody else in the gym, you're finding trainers to help you, you're making progress. You don't have to have the golden body tomorrow. You don't you don't have to go get that bubble, right? You don't have to get that
Yeah,
BBL.
yeah,
You you put the work in. You build. You don't have to run to that. Impatience has got such a grip on our society right now where we just want everything immediately. And that's not sustainable. You want proof? Look at all your favorite YouTubers who were doing some of the craziest pranks that you've ever seen online. That kind of faded off fast, right? You don't hear
yeah,
about them anymore, right? Easy come, easy go. Now, where are they? They're in therapy. Many of them are trying to find themselves because they sold themselves a long time ago. They don't know what they don't know who they are. Their identity was pranks. Now they don't have one. So stick to who you are. Build yourself. You're worth it. You matter. There is something out there for you. And as long as you know your purpose, as long as you know direction, it does not matter how long it takes to get there. You will get there eventually. If it takes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, there's some people who started truly living at the age of 40 and lived beyond their wildest dreams. And some of them are still here in their 80s and 90s. That's 40 to 50 years that you could be living if you're that old. And 40 is not old. You could just get started. Everybody has their own path, everybody has their own start date. We don't know what that finish date is, but make sure that every single day you live like you want to live. You live in your purpose, live in your moment. Live for yourself. Understand that you will destroy your dreams if you rush it because you'll never know what your dreams were to begin with. So just stay on that path. Keep growing. Keep living. Keep loving. Right? Just keep growing. Eventually you will get there. Remember that word eventually. Just keep saying to eventually. Eventually. Because it's just a matter of time. If you're consistent in what you're doing, it's just a reality that you will get to where you want to be.
very true. I mean, right now, um, as, as I learned along the way, my journey, people aren't like what they choose to be. So
Mhm.
if you're not comfortable with where you are, or you know, with who you're with in your life, or how your life has played out thus far, you dictate and decide where you're gonna go with it from here. While you still have a choice, or you haven't put yourself in a position where you're losing the power of your choice. Um, it's really important to not get caught up in instant gratification, circumstantial, right? It's something that it kind of depends on the moment, the thrill of the moment, and what it is, and when you have it and when it's gone, how do you react to it, right? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you um, move forward into developing something that's sustainable for yourself, right? And that's a part of, like, just being impatient of life, where life really kind of is in a blink of an eye, and before you know it, you get to the end of your threshold. And did you really enjoy it? Did you really live an experience and not just exist through them? Like, I think that's something to really think about. There's so many of us often do, and if you're stopping to hear this today, and this is the first time you kind of thought about those questions. Really take a moment to embrace it and what they mean for you at this point in your life, because again, there's no such thing as being too old to like really make those changes for yourself, because you still have life now.
Mhm.
So apply them to where you need to. Um, Refrain from that instant gratification of like what we see around us, because we live in an age where it is like more of a social thing, because of what we see, and everything is so accessible in a sense, like the reference of like winning a lottery earlier, or becoming an overnight sensation, a star, if you will, um, and just kind of fizzing out, right? Because you haven't really developed an identity for yourself and know who you are along the way. So I think it's really important to hold true to that and just kind of really allow yourself to feel that. Allow yourself to feel the emotions. A lot of times, I think we tune ourselves out to it, because we don't want to have to deal with the growth that's required with it, the growing pains, if you will. We don't want to deal with that. Most people don't. But really, you draw the best out of you when you do have those moments. We all do, but again, it's a choice. It's a choice. It's an accountability. To apply that intentionality towards something better for yourself. Because if you're good, again, everyone else around you will be good. And in this instance, like, becoming impatient with goals that you set, um, you can miss out. You really can miss out. I think we can all attest to listening to this today, that you've had a point in time in your life where that's happened. And how did that make you feel? When you reflect on it, you don't want to live in a place of regret. Take an opportunity to learn from those things and apply it to your moment that you have now, because it's not promised, it's earned. Being able to live is, you're earning your way through life in that way, right? Your body, your mind is subconsciously telling, it's focusing in so that you can breathe, just breathing, just to exist. So you're fighting every second of your life anyway. So you might as well really apply a certain type of logic to it so that you can really maximize your growth potential, because you do matter. If you didn't hear it before today, this is the place where we'll let you know. This is what we're here to do, to remind each and every single one of you, as well as ourselves, that we all matter and that we are all so damn worth it. And in the end, again, you choose where you are in life. If you don't like where you are, make the adjustments necessary. Don't allow yourself to let impatience and the moment, of needing some sort of something to define you as of right now for that instant gratification, rather than just allow yourself to feel and grow, allow yourself to go through the seasons. And it's okay. And it's okay. Contrary to what you hear around you, like, man, you gotta get it, this gotta be it. Nah, it's okay to just go with your flow, go with your pace. This is your race. This is your life. So make sure that you live it to the fullest of what you can. And when it's all said and done, you're able to know that you've lived a fulfilling life. And that's the goal,
A fulfilling life. I know 100% that all of us want to live that. And for those out there who are listening to this episode, we want to turn it over to you now. We want you to tell us how patience has allowed you to live a life of purpose. We talked about how impatience can affect us, but we want to hear your story about how you were patient in a certain part of your life and you ended up being better on the other side. The best response that we get will be featured on the next episode of Achromous Podcast. And of course, you will be able to receive 40% off of anything from achromousfitness.com. And we have some deals out there right now. It is fall. It's nice and cold outside. You're getting ready to really get into savage season and hit the gym or whatever you feel like doing around these colder months. You have an opportunity to go on to achromousfitness.com. Hoodies, hats, beanies, everything is on there right for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's available, it's waiting. Really, really dope gear, really dope attire, really dope accessories. There's something for everybody. And, again, we're constantly diligently working towards building on our wardrobe. And as we grow, we can expand it out more, add more versatile, more style to it, more of more of a pop. But ultimately, it's more importantly, for us to make sure that you understand what it represents, and in wearing it, is a representation of what you believe in this movement and what we are about, and that ultimately, displaying to the world that you matter. This is a way to do it. This is something to get behind. Where, oh, look, throwing shade on some of these companies out there, but if you're gonna rock certain brands that are like name brand, and they really don't have an identity that's of something that's up for you, for the people, this is it. This is the way to go. So we really appreciate your support with this. And again, if you find yourself purchasing an item, there we have percentages and discounts off, but let us know. And this way we want to be able to give you shout outs. How many places there's women that's going to do that,
Mm.
right? They really give you a shout out for supporting them in this aspect too, right? We want to make honorable mentions of you and actually really make it known to the world how much you matter and that you matter to us. So this is our way of being able to do that. So please, we really appreciate you just going to check out our merch, see what you're interested in, what you like, reach out to us if you have any questions. And yeah, we really would appreciate that.
100% we'll see. Look, I mean, this has all been great, right? It's a labor of love. We're 5 episodes away from 100. I think one of these weeks coming up, we have to have a reflection episode on where we started because it's really unbelievable, man. Sometimes you just get a little emotional thinking about
Mm,
it, especially those who have been there from the very beginning. When we first started this, didn't know what the hell we were doing, didn't know what a ring light was. Now I got three sitting up here next to me, didn't know what a mic was. Now there's one sitting
yeah,
in front of me. I didn't know webcam, didn't know any sort of production techniques for these episodes. We've learned so much in such a short period of time. It has been an amazing ride, and I can't wait to keep growing with you, brother Will C. And I can't wait for those who are watching out there to continue watching, especially if this is your very first time listening or watching the Achromous podcast. We hope that you've learned something. Hope that you can take away something that you got from this video. You can apply it to your life. For those who have been here before and still do not understand who we are, what we are, or what we represent, I'm going to spell it out for you once again. Achromous. You can find us anywhere that you can hear a podcast in this world. That's Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you are watching us, that can only mean one thing. That means that you are looking at us on YouTube. And if you did not do this at the very beginning of this video, we need you to do it now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So the next time that you hop on YouTube and you're looking for an episode with gems, you're trying to understand how you can stop being impatient and stop ruining the dreams that you build and understand what your purpose is, you scroll down that feed and you will find episode 95 of the Achromous podcast. And most of all, we'll see.
it's free to do each and every single one of those steps,
Unbelievable.
right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's free to do it. Look, there's no rush to it. You can be patient as you like about this process, but we appreciate you when you do it. So we love to emphasize to it for you to just definitely like our content. It takes just nothing but a quick second just to hit that like button. If not anything else, just hit that like button. And if you take it a step further, again, turn on your notification bell, subscribe to it because it's free to do so. We're in a period of time where you got this available for you for free. Not too many things are like that out here, seriously. So take advantage of it, especially if you have people that are investing into you. We really appreciate that.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the week. Until next week, it's your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And we'll see.